Met two Rastafarian students they rejected for their refusal to cut their dreadlocks. But will the parents still take their children to Achimota?
Advised by teachers there, have been advised by students, they have been advised by so many people in society that we should not send them there anymore. But I don't believe that, because it is their right to be there. And whatever challenges they have to face there, they have to stand up as lions and face these challenges.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Gasim Cement, the nation builder, as well as Vodafone. It is a landmark judgment with the potential for far-reaching consequences for education in Ghana across all levels. After weeks of legal arguments, the prestigious Achimota Senior High School now has no choice but to admit two Rastafarian students they had earlier rejected a few short months back. The school had insisted the children remove their dreadlocks, but their parents resisted. So for weeks, Achimota refused to allow the students to enroll. They dragged the school to court, and today the court was emphatic Achimota was wrong. Well, they had been ordered to readmit the students. Here is Oheneba Kweku Nkrabia, one of the rejected students, now looking forward to return to the classroom.
I'm really grateful for the court's decisions, and I'm hoping to go to school very soon.
For all this period of months or weeks that you've been home, what has been going through your mind as you wait for the court to deliver its ruling on this?
Well, before I thought I was lacking out, but I saw that as I was doing my online classes, it didn't matter whether I didn't go to school or not. As long as I'm getting the same education as they are, I can go through this. So I also believe that the court would rule for us. So I kept on with my classes, my online program, Wolo, and I believe I can cope with my friends in their academic when I get back to school.
So that's the view there from one of the students. Kweku Asante was in court and joins me in the studio with details. And then Kweku, all journalists were sacked from the courtroom just before the case actually started, but you got briefed by the lawyers. What reasons do we learn now the judge gave for this verdict?
Right. So according to Justice Gifty J. Addo, she was not convinced by arguments from the Achimota School, the Attorney General Department, and all the other nominal respondents that came, that the specific rules that are enforced in Achimota School cannot triumph above the legal rules, some of the constitutional set-down procedures, the right to education, the right to manifest one's religion. These are some of the main issues that went to the heart of this issue. And so Justice Gifty J. Addo put this side by side to these specific subsidiary rules that are in place in Achimota School and said that she is not convinced that rules can triumph over this. For that matter, he is ordering Achimota School to admit them. Raswaya has been speaking to us.
What her ladyship has just done today is to make sure that human rights is not just on our law books, but it must be respected, it must be protected, and it must be fulfilled. And what it is that makes it beautiful is that she read some persuasive judgment and rulings from other jurisdictions like Kenya, South Africa, Zimbabwe. And now Ghana has also stamped its authority in fulfilling human rights. So instantly, Ghana's ruling has also now gotten to that level. If something happens in another Commonwealth country, that is to say where the practice of law is common law, they can equally cite her ladyship, Gifty Ejeado's ruling in fulfilling and protecting fundamental human rights. This is what this judge has done. And if the media is talking about this matter, I would want you to spend 1 minute to look at the extent and the excess of what she has done today and propagate it. she has really cemented the protection of fundamental human rights in this country just by her ruling today.
So that is Ras Wayo. He is a part of the council lawyers for the students who had gone to court. But Kweku, there are fears, even tonight on the back of this verdict, that it's still not prudent for the students to go back to Achimota. You put that question to one of the fathers.
Right. So according to Ras Aswad and Krabia, these are concerns that others, even outside, have shared with him that these children are going back to the same Achimota and they are going to devise all strategies to frustrate these students. He says this is something they are brooding over and very soon they will come to a decision.
As you can see, I'm very, very, very excited and appreciate the fact that the judge stuck to the course. From beginning, she said that she's going to ensure that it is fast-tracked. She was going to expedite it to make sure that the children wouldn't suffer. And she did just like she said. Secondly is that what we said in the beginning about the violation of the Constitution, all along, that was my position, and I maintain it, that the Constitution was being violated. And that is where she delivered the most powerful presentation today.
When are you sending your children to school?
Well, I have to sit with the whole family and then we decide, because we are expecting that the school will give us a warm welcome when we go there. We're not expecting a situation where we are not properly welcome.
Are you saying that you expect some sort of victimization of the children when they go there, or there will be an unwelcoming environment?
I have been advised by teachers there, I've been advised by students there, I've been advised by so many people in society that we should not send them there anymore. But I don't believe that, because it is their right to be there. And whatever challenges they have to face there, they have to stand up as lions and face these challenges.
So, Kweku, the journalists themselves also, got into the spotlight a bit. Just before the case started, all of you were sacked from the courtroom. Why?
Right. So, Evans, first, the case was the ruling was supposed to be delivered at 9. We were all in court before, and information came in that it would be delivered at 2. So we returned at 2. We were sitting in court, and then the clerk of court came in and said that her orders from above are that all media men in the building, in the courtroom, should vacate the premises. And so we all had to come and sit outside and wait. You could see from the glasses that the proceedings were going on, but they did not give us specific reasons why they were asking us media men to come out. By the end of the day, no media person was inside when the judgment was rendered.
But that's pretty curious, because all along through the length of the trial,
media men were allowed.
Journalists have been in the courtroom and they've covered this case right from the courtroom, and then there was an exception made for
this. Yes, and so that was a surprising.
Was it that the room was crowded?
That's how it has almost always been since the case started, and due to the large public interest, and that courtroom is much smaller to say, but that is how it has been since the case started. Almost all the time, people would even have to stand outside. But today the situation was different. They just asked the journalists to go out. Okay, yeah, Kweku, thank you very much. And listen, thank you for that great reporting there. In the studio with me tonight, Ras Aswad Nkrabia is father of young Nkrabia. You heard him speak earlier about his ambition now to looking forward to going back to the classroom. Ras Aswad, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah. Yes, sir. Great to have you. Also with me in the studio is Tyrone Magai. He is, of course, the student who, of course, spoke pretty eloquently when his enrollment was curtailed by Achimota. Tyrone, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Great to have you. And also with me is his father. He's here with his father, Mr. Magai. Hello, Mr. Magai.
Yes, hello.
Great to have you again talk to us. Tyrone, let me start with you. Give me a sense of how you're feeling tonight.
I'm feeling wonderful because since we started the case, I wasn't looking forward to a quick judgment because it was clear enough right from the start, but we were still unsure about what the ruling was going to be. So today when we were going in there, I was expecting 3 things. It's either we're winning, we're losing, or the case is dismissed and we'll have to appeal. All of that. And so when we went in there and it was a win, I felt wonderful and extra wonderful, I would say.
And there's a side story to this about your sisters, your triplets.
Yes, sir.
So your 2 other sisters, they are already in school.
Yes, sir.
At
St. John's Grammar School.
So for how long has it been since you've been home?
Ever since school started, so for about 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
So every morning you watch your 2 sisters
every
leave.
morning. I sometimes go with them, sometimes hoping miraculously that I appear in uniform and join them to school, but it doesn't always happen, or it's never happened anyway. So I always go back and watch them board the bus and leave off to school.
And that must have been pretty traumatic for you. I mean,
Yeah,
staying at home.
definitely.
How did you held up? How did you put yourself together?
Okay,
Having to see your sisters off to school, meanwhile you can't go.
okay, I had to like psych myself and try to motivate myself because life is complicated, but it's equally rewarding, and that's what makes it beautiful. So considering the fact I may be going through all of this, but I assumed and hoped that it was going to bring out something grand because it was unusual for someone who had learned so much harder enough to score an aggregate of 6. He scored at about less than 1% of the 500,000 kids that wrote the BEC scored, with the hopes of pursuing a higher goal in their lives, and all of a sudden they are turned down just because they have dreadlocks. So I just kept motivating myself and learning my books.
Okay. So you're looking forward to going back to school now?
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to going back to Achimota, to be very specific.
Yes, sir. Back to Achimota School.
Okay, let me bring in your father, who is seated right next to you. You can watch us on our Facebook page, Joy 99.7. They are all seated here in the studio with me as we have this conversation. Mr. Maguire, your son now has an opportunity to go back to Achimota.
Yes, sir.
Okay, did you expect that this will happen today, or you had in your doubts that it might not happen after all?
Well, I was having a very little doubt, because how I saw things moving, and also from the view of the public, I thought we had to come out with a win, So I was actually expecting that we'll have to come out with a win.
I've heard Ms. Nkrabia speak to my colleague and address this concern. With all that has happened, with all the back and forth, and you were in court against the school, you still think it's a wise thing to actually insist that young Tyrone still goes to Achimota and gets his education there?
Well, I also say I have the same view, like my brethren in Krabia, that they have to go there. And I also think from how the whole thing started and how it's ended, somewhere the Achimota school will be nice to them. They have to be nice to them because along the way I also think they wish it had all not started, because these are brilliant students. And today's world, I think, except people who want to close their minds, because if you want to know about who real Rasta people are, you should know they are decent people. And you should also know that it's not anybody that put on dreadlocks. It's Rasta people, So I'm with the view that they're going to treat them good. And if they happen not to, then we will be watching, And also not only us, the eyes of the world is also watching. Everyone will be watching. So I don't think it will be so big a risk for the school to try anything, against them. So I think they will have no choice but just to be treat them good and see that.
Mr. Nkrabia, you agree with that?
With them.
Oh, I am in 100% agreement, and I think my brother just hit the nail on the head when he said that the international community, the world community, will be watching, because this is not just a national issue, it has become an international issue, and people all over the world, they are having great interest in terms of what is going on. So if we put the students back in there, I mean the children back in that school, of course there will be even students in that school, there will be even teachers in that school who will be looking out for the interests of these children. So we are expecting that they would really show us love. The Rastafari movement so far have reached the world from practicing nothing but peace and love. If you study the history of Rastafari, we preach nothing but peace and love. True. So we expect that these children will do the same thing when they go to that school.
Okay. We'll speak to your lawyer shortly about how you plan to now enforce this judgment in school. Ras Wayo is the lawyer, joins us on the telephone line. Hello, Ras.
Yeah, good evening to your cherished listeners.
Yes, Ras, just stay with me a second. I want to expand this a bit more because, we know you agree this, as it says, a landmark judgment, which means that it's possible it has far-reaching consequences just beyond the specific case of the two students in question. I want to bring in the Mr. Angel Kabonu, who of course is with the National Association of Graduate Students. Hello, Mr. Kabonu. Thank you, sir, for your time here on Top Story. Hello, Mr. Kabonu. Okay, let's try and fix that and get him on. Ras, so the question remains now: how do you enforce this judgment as has been declared by the court?
Thank you very much. This is a ruling, and so it's a form of judgment, but it is not a judgment where a matter has gone through full trial and all that, where you need to use another process of the court to enforce the judgment. This is just a ruling. And what is the ruling seeking to do? The ruling is a declaration speaking on certain conduct that was existing. Our claim in court was you were violating the children's right to education. And so if the court agrees with us and then declares that that conduct is a violation of the right to education, what it simply means, stop violating. And so if you are stopping, then the person whom you are stopping from doing something now has got a green light to go.
Okay.
So tomorrow the kids are going to school because now Achimota has been told to stop violating the right to education. And the kids all this while have been ready. They're like, substitute on the bench who the coach was signaling that move to the touch line, start jogging, and then when the linesman raises the board and the referee accepts, you jump in.
So they go to school. So they go to school tomorrow.
Exactly, they have to.
This is something I want to explore shortly in some greater detail. Stay with me. I want to bring in Mr. Kabonu and Joe Kabonu with the NAGRAT. Hello, Mr. Kabonu. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Great to have you on, Mr. Kabonu. And I know you had, as a teacher union, mostly teaching in the senior high schools, raised concerns about what this means for education generally.
Hello, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me, Mr. Kabonu?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I'm just saying, I know NAGRAT had stated a position with concerns about, what if this is allowed, what this means generally, the consequences for education broadly. The judgment has been delivered today. What's your initial reaction to it as it relates to what this will mean for education generally?
Oh, I don't think we are even going to lose hair on what it's going to mean. Look, let me couch my words cautiously. I don't think we are going to lose a single hair on this ruling.
I know in the initial stages you had raised concerns about this might possibly open the floodgate. You still believe that this might?
We raised concerns that let us obey school rules. That if you take your child to school, obey school rules. If the court feels that the school rules are not necessary, so be it. I don't think teachers will lose a single hair on this. But let us also not limit this to Rasta. Any form of hairdo should be allowed in the school. And I'll admonish my members that you don't go and say, oh, they said Rasta. That would be a very myopic way of looking at it. Any form of hairdo, Mohican hairdo is a hairdo. Rasta is a hairdo. Bushy Afro hair is hairdo. Sakura is hairdo. We don't have to waste our time on some of these things. People can wear suits, smock, batakari, anything. Those who want to walk barefooted should be able to walk barefooted to school. Your duty is to teach geography. Your duty is to teach maths. And your duty is to teach English language and all the other subjects. That is the extension, and that is my understanding of the ruling.
If that is NAGRAT's position, that possibly holds.
That is my
understanding
of the ruling. I didn't say that is NAGRAT's position.
That this might hold a potential, if chaotic scene in the classroom. If that's the interpretation, I guess that some may put on it. You agree?
Well, that shouldn't be my worry now. My worry is to obey the ruling of the court to the extent that it takes.
And as far as you're concerned, that is how you're interpreting it.
Well, Evans, please. Someone has Rasta. Another person has Mohican. Another person will have Afro. Another person will have Sakura. Are they not all hairdos? Somebody will have Permin. Somebody will have Jerry Kells. Somebody will have braids. Are they not all hairdos? So why should we discriminate? Somebody wants to wear togas. Another person wants to wear trousers. Another person wants to wear shorts. Are they not all pants?
What do you say to those who say this was a religious question, not necessarily, fashion?
And who determines religion? If I decide to be a Mohican religious person, who determines that for me? If it is my religion to shave my hair to the scalp, who determines that for me? If it is my religion to wear jerry curls, who determines that for me?
I'm grateful, sir. That is Angel.
Thank you very much.
That is Angel Kabonu. He is the president of the National Association of Graduate Teachers. Ras Wayo is a lawyer for the students. Is still with me. Hello, Ras.
Yes, Evans, a quick response to Mr. Kabonu.
Yes, do you agree with the interpretation?
Absolutely out of place. You see, these are the type of positions that when courts give rulings are placed on it. Everything he's saying is not what the court has said. The court is not saying that anybody should just go and be a Mohican or wear togas and move around. The court had certain things to determine. And in the case of Republic versus Tommy Thompson book 1996, the court was clear that courts of law do not interpret abstract metaphysics, but the law to factual matters before them. What the man talking about is abstract matters, that somebody is wearing togas, Mohican, jerrycase. If you want to go to Achimota school with your jerrycase, you must establish upon what basis that religion has come to stay and crystallize. It was not in dispute in court that Rastafarianism is a religion. And it was not in dispute. Even Achimota itself, represented by Professor Aite, a former vice-chancellor of a university in this country, they didn't dispute that Rastafarianism is a religion and manifesting the religion via Numbers 6, chapter 5, that when you take the Nazarene vow, you must keep your hair without razor touching your hair. So it was not in dispute. Why will Mr. Kabonu come and belittle this huge evidential matter that the court reasoned around to Derrickers and Mohican and Togas? This is very unfortunate for a man who is a president of NAGRA. We are disappointed with such senior citizens, and their way of thinking does not align with the youth of this country. Very soon, this type of thinking will be fixed, because this type of thinking are cake and they don't advance the upcoming Ghanaian youth. We will not sit down for such thinking. We are talking about something the court is using judicial notice to interpret, and you are talking about Mohicanism and wearing togas and calling jerrycase as your religion. Who in this country can go to Achimota and say I'm a jerrycase? The first question is, what is your basis? Show us a religion that is notorious to have jerrycase as their religion, and then the court will interpret it as such. So Mr. Kabonu is way out of place.
Stay with me. I want to come to the studio and bring in the parents and of course Tyrone. Mr. Nkrabia, so Ras says he believes that you can go to school tomorrow. Is that your plan to send young Kweku Nkrabia to school tomorrow?
We the family is going to have a discussion with the lawyers to determine, that decision. We are still looking into so many aspects of it. So, I will communicate with him this evening, or we will communicate with him this evening, and then see the best option.
Okay, but you want him to go to school as soon as possible, I guess.
Oh yes, certainly.
Because he's already missed 2 months of.
Yes, certainly. But we want him to go to school in the proper order, and we also would like a welcome from the school, because they have been damaged psychologically.
You want a welcome? Explain that. How do you mean?
Yes. What I'm saying is that the school is not just for academic education. The school is to groom the children into being good human beings, right? So we have just went through a battle that has damaged the children. So we are not expecting any hostility from the school, right? So one of the best ways is to pacify the situation is to show some love, show some concern, right? And welcome them in the school properly. We are not expecting to go to the school and seeing teachers have shown disdain. We're not expecting to go to the school and seeing teachers with their face made up and showing scorn, right? We're not going to the school expecting, to see teachers wanting to reject the children again. So we are expecting that if they are citizens of this country and they believe in the Constitution, they should respect what happened today and honor the Constitution, and in the constitutional spirit, welcome children in school.
Mr. Maguire, you want Tyrone to be in school when?
Well, it's like my Bridget said, we first have to talk to the lawyer.
But we just had the lawyer say you can walk into school tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think they will have to go to the court tomorrow to take a letter, or I think the order. I don't know what.
Okay, so hold on there. I mean, Ras is on. Ras, so it's not as straightforward as just simply tomorrow picking your bag and wearing your Achimota uniform and going, is it?
You see, the point here is this: such determinations, they end a certain impasse. The court has declared solely that your denial of Mr. A or Mr. B enrolling in school is in violation of his right to education. The moment the court said that, what it means is that stop. If you are stopping, it means do not deny him again. So if the person comes to assess that right, and like I heard Aswad saying, and you are somebody who respects the court, respects the rule of law, and you have heard about it, Achimota School cannot seek to say that they are not aware of these declarations. Their lawyers were in court, their representative was in court, the Attorney General was in court. So regardless of the order, if even tomorrow we don't get the order early in the morning, if the kids go to school, in the spirit of camaraderie, in the spirit of friendliness, like Aswad is saying, for peace to prevail, if they come to school, why would you want to deny them from coming to school? When you are very much aware that you have been told to stop denying them from coming to school. Unless you want to still begin to banter with the court declaration, and then you say, go and bring that order that says, I shall allow you to come. When your lawyers were in court and your representative were there, not ordinary person. He's a member of the board of governors. He's a former vice chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Aite. He was in court, and the judge told them what to do. He's just supposed to communicate to his colleagues that we went to court. The court has ruled the kids must be allowed to come to school.
So assuming for the sake of arguments, because we know these things happen. I mean, courts declare, but there's a process to which you follow to access and enjoy the fruits of that order. Assuming there's an issue, who do you hold? Is it the school, the GES, or the Education Ministry?
I mean, the respondents have gotten their opposition denied, so we can't hold them for anything. Now we have to depend on the ruling of the court, and it's the ruling. The ruling is just the number of pages the judge read. So it will be typed out, the judge will sign, and with that in hand, it is to indicate that this is the ruling against you. You are supposed to stop denying me from my right to education. That means if I'm supposed to come to General Act 1 or Science 1, I'm coming to Science 1. It's simple. It's not any Herculean or laborious process.
But they also have a right to appeal.
Appeal is a different thing. It's as of right. They can appeal, but appealing doesn't mean that the order does not subsist. The order is the order. It is a declaration that you are stopping something. The court says, stop that thing you are stopping. And if you have to stop that thing you are stopping, it means clear the way. Clear the way means the child must come to school. It's as simple as that. So it shouldn't be a difficult thing to apprehend.
So as a lawyer, we've had a parent. As a lawyer, what would you advise the parents do? Should they take them to school tomorrow?
So you are seeking my advice to my clients on your platform, which I will do because, I mean, it's part of the education we are giving the people. If they call me after your show, my advice is that they have to take their kids to school. The simple reason is if their kids go to school today and tomorrow they don't want Achimota anymore, they can pack their bags and leave. They were alumni of Achimota. They can now say bye-bye to Achimota. After I've come here, I don't want to be here anymore. Nobody forces them. But they have to go to school as the court has declared.
So you're saying that they can, in fact, tomorrow go to Achimota?
They have to go to school and see Achimota tell them that go and bring the order. Then the order will be got. The order is not a long process. It's just the number of pages, like I've said. So those pages will be printed out. The judge will sign. When the judge signs, the parent will have to take it and go and give to Achimota that this is the order. The court says what you are doing is unlawful. So clear the way. It's as simple as that. It's not a laborious process.
Ras, thank you very much. So that's it, Mr. Maguire. You just heard the lawyer say you can.
Yes, and I also agree with him, but what I was thinking is maybe we could get to the school and they will say, where is the order? Because since they've been trying to, play with us, maybe they could also come with us that way. That's why I thought, okay, maybe we'll have to go for the order, printed. Black on white, and then there will be nothing.
Okay,
the lawyer is right.
Was very clear on this, Mr. Krabbe. So will you go tomorrow? Because we'll love to tag along and see how this unfolds when you actually show up in school.
Is that the family need to meet? My wife is not here. His wife is not here. The children not here. My son is not here. We all need to sit down as a family, as a group. The other lawyer is not here, so together we will meet with.
But you definitely will take him back to Achimota.
Oh, certainly.
Definitely. Okay.
This is right.
Yeah.
This is right, and we are defending the Constitution, so we'll take him there.
Yeah. Let me ask Tyrone finally. Tyrone, do you harbor any fears, because you will be in the school, do you harbor any fears that this might actually prove very difficult to actually stay in Achimota? The fear of possible victimization some have raised?
Yeah.
What's your own feeling on this?
Well, I am not really harboring, but I've assumed there could be a possibility of fear once I get to Achimota School, because considering the damaged reputation and a whole lot of other undesired consequences, actions on their part, I don't think I would be a friendly face they would want to see, considering the things they've been through already. So I am anticipating something of that sort. Only with the support of my parents and all the loved ones, I should be able to handle it amicably.
But you definitely want to be in Achimota, no anywhere else?
Yes, sir. At the moment, yes, sir.
At the moment, yes. But you're not harboring any thoughts of possibly, I've won, I've made my case, take me elsewhere?
Well, sometimes, because considering the things, I've been home for about 2 months. When I get to school, I'll be somewhat a stranger, because I don't know anyone, even though they may know me. But I've lost all of that. I mean, the first times they've done a lot of exercises. They are used to being taught the actual subjects, but I have been home and learnt on my own. So I've missed education, which I'm actually entitled to. And all this trauma, going up and down, falling sick, and,
Oh, you fell sick?
Yes, sir. Some days ago, I was sick, and then so many things, which right now I'm certain that I wasn't supposed to go through all of this. And so I would say I'm hoping to get back to Achimota.
Thank you, Mr. Nkrabia. Thank you, Tyrone. And thank you, Mr. Maguire, for joining us with your thoughts. Listen, we haven't heard yet from Achimota. We've tried to reach them, both the board, the school authorities. Once we get their side of this, will they appeal or will they simply respect what the court had directed? Once you get that, we'll bring that to you. News Night starts right now. Still ahead, MFA.
Labour experts condemns the adversarial